Well, it finally happened. Kim Kardashian became more confusing to the public than she already was. Kim was recently revealed to be the cover model for GQ's Men of the Year, sporting a black blazer, striped shirt, patterned necktie, and a bag of original Cheetos. Yeah, that last one confused me a bit too. Actually, if I'm being honest, this entire thing confuses me, and it turns out I'm not alone. In the few days that have passed since the cover made its way around the internet, there's been so much confusion surrounding this magazine cover. Comments beneath the Instagram posts range from, "Why is Kim Kardashian on this cover? Is she a man?" to, "This is a disgrace to all mankind." Of course, there are a lot of Kardashian fans who praise Kim for appearing on the cover. So the answer as to why Kim is on the cover as a Man of the Year is actually because of her latest business venture. Skims is a business that Kim got off the ground in 2019, and she claims that the company was born from a necessity. She was always having trouble finding clothes that matched her skin tone, quickly realizing that the companies that she would buy for would only sell their clothes in like 2 or 3 shades. According to Kim, she would literally buy white shapewear and toss them into a tub filled with coffee and tea. And that liquid was then bottled and then sold at auction. No, that didn't happen, but someone would definitely buy that. The world is terrible. Kim partnered up with power couple Jens and Emma Grede to create more options for women. The brand has been popular, featuring undergarments of all shapes and sizes and over 10 skin tones. In 2022, the company was named as one of the most influential companies ever. Skim recently announced that they would be expanding their clothes to include menswear, boxers, briefs, and beyond. That's a great name for a store, please don't take that from me. Kim being featured on the cover of a magazine celebrating the Men of the Year makes a little bit more sense when you realize that she may be on the verge of revolutionizing men's underclothes. The reception from the cover has been mainly negative, with people simply being upset that a woman is on a men's magazine cover. Forgetting about gender for a moment, the magazine celebrates things that men have done in 2023, and while there were a lot of good things that happened this year, there was also a lot of really shady, bad stuff. Also, whoever decided that a bag of Cheetos would make Kim look more manly is clearly not manly themselves, man. Give her a bag of Jack Link's beef jerky teriyaki style and then we'll talk. Cheetos are okay, but I don't know about you, I hate it when there's dust on my hands when I'm eating a snack. Skims has started to release lots of men's styles, including leggings, t-shirts, socks, briefs, all the fun stuff. The company is body positive and is releasing clothes in all shapes and sizes, so yeah, I'm gonna buy myself an extra large pair of boxers because I've got all the junk in this trunk. The prices are actually relatively decent, with the most expensive clothes being in the mid-50s, when the low end being in the mid-teens, so not too bad. Kim Kardashian's always been a public figure seen as one thing or another. She is either public enemy number 1 or just an innocent bystander. When it comes to being on the cover of a magazine for men, it's not a big deal. The photo is weird, again, Cheetos, not that manly. Take it from me, I'm wearing a Hamilton the Musical hoodie, the manliest musical ever made. Bam. Considering the things that men have done this year, it's fair. I feel like every other week there is a man in the news for doing something terrible. Justin Timberlake is at the top of the canceled list, thanks to Britney Spears' memoir. Jonah Hill had his career called into question when an ex shared screenshots of controlling conversations between themselves. Danny Matheson, the guy from That 70s Show, was arrested and charged for doing terrible, heinous things to women. I could literally go on and on about the scandals involving men from this year, and I probably will in a separate video. But today, we're talking about Kim Kardashian and her calculated business moves. Kim and her family have actually tried time and time again to keep their fortune stable in an ever-changing world. Most of those ventures have worked out, but there have been a handful that just failed miserably, so let's chat about them. So for starters, the Kardashian crew actually tried to get their very own credit card off the ground. The Kardashian card with a K, cause Kardashians, they're so clever. The card was scrapped before it took off because the few people who actually signed up for it received outlandish fees every time they used it. Not to mention, the card was aimed at young people who couldn't afford the fees and simply wanted to tell their friends that they had a Kardashian-themed credit card. Another failed venture that really needs to be mentioned is Quick Trim. Quick Trim was a product released in 2009 and it absolutely tanked. Khloe, Kim, and Courtney got together and became the spokeswomen for a diet supplement because, you know how reliable those are. By 2012, the three were named in a $5 million class action lawsuit against Quick Trim, accusing them of false and deceptive marketing. Unfortunately, if people want to lose weight fast, this is not the way you do it. A lot of people know it rarely works. works. Walking for an hour a day is much better for your health. The sisters also partnered to create a line of self-tanning kits that included a self-tanning gel. Yeah, you were supposed to take sticky orange paste and lather it all over yourself to get that Kardashian glow. Yeah, no one was willing to slime themselves up to look like that, so the product was quickly discontinued and taken off the shelves. In 2011, the family decided to open a store in Las Vegas, Nevada to sell merchandising to casino goers. You know, people who probably just lost all of their money, give them a Kim keychain, they'll be fine. Problem solved. Sometimes they would actually appear at the store for meet and greets, but that was once in a while. So the store lost its novelty and they were forced to close down in 2014. Oh, and also they tried to be authors for a hot minute. It's worth mentioning that 2 Kardashian clan members decided to team up for this novel. Rebel City of Indra is a fictional story taking place in a world of the far future in the city of Indra, a world with 2 faces, a floating paradise and a nightmare on the ground. The book was written by the team of Kylie and Kendall Jenner and was meant to be the next big young adult book like Maze Runner or The Hunger Games. That's something they actually wanted to happen. Instead, what the world received was a literal pile of trash that apparently contains interwoven stories that make no sense, a really bad and cringy twist, and it's only 342 pages long. Only. This steampunk-centric novel was not the fantasy feature for the young Jenners that they were hoping. The reviews for this book are dreadful. Even people who have been following this family since day one didn't like it. I unfortunately have not had the chance to read it yet before I wrote this part of this script, so please be kind to me if it is a good book. I am going to buy it very soon. I just want to know how terrible it truly is and if it's worth adapting into a miniseries. I can't imagine it is, but it might. While some of their business ventures have failed, there is no denying that there have been a lot of successes as well. But even those successes are caked with deception and evil. For instance, Kylie Jenner, the youngest of the Kardashian clan, is extremely successful for her age. In 2019, she made the cover of Forbes magazine as the youngest self-made billionaire ever, following the successful partnership between cosmetic brand that she made and Ulta, a beauty salon company. This would allow the brand, previously only available online or in random pop-ups, to actually be placed on shelves in Ulta's 1,000 plus stores, which is unfortunate because the true nature of where these products come from is so dark, it's so bad. A lot of employees at the factory that mix and package these makeups and beauty products have reported that they were never given any proper safety equipment to do that job. They were only given hairnets, lab coats, safety goggles, which meant their hands and faces were completely exposed. Workers would regularly report migraines, chemical burns on their hands, all the fun stuff. And if that's not bad enough, they were also forced to be human test subjects for Kylie's new products. Now, she is very proud of her company not testing things on animals, but can we agree that people, that's just way worse? You shouldn't do that. But Kylie isn't even close to the meanest of the bunch. Kim is an absolute menace to the people that work for her. This woman has 4 kids, a skincare line, Skims, now men and women styles. She did law school, co-founded an equity team, hopped on the podcast train, so many things, in addition to filming the new show that she has on Hulu. So you might be asking yourself, how does this one woman do all of that by herself? Of course she doesn't. She pays people to do it for her. She has multiple assistants and nannies who help her stay above this overwhelming workload, but she's been known to treat them as lesser than herself. For instance, on several occasions, Kim and her daughter North would go to lunch with their nannies, but Kim made her not only sit at a separate table away from them, but she is known to make her nannies walk 10 feet away from them at all times, unless she has multiple people with her at once, and then she likes to make them walk in like a flying V formation because it looks cool. If they walked near her or attempted to walk side by side, she apparently blows up on them. Needless to say, she's had many nannies over the years and has probably made them all cry at least once. But while Kim might not be the best boss in the world, it's actually Courtney who's known as the absolute worst. According to former nannies, Courtney was by far the worst Kardashian. Not only is she a neat freak, needing every single thing to be exactly where it should be, but she's also known for being surprisingly cheap. She even once called a grocery store while she was still shopping to compare the price of a chicken breast, because if anyone needs that extra 99 cents, it's Kourtney Kardashian. But this isn't the worst thing she's ever done. At one point, Kourtney's daughter had bitten a nanny so hard that she had to quit, but instead of letting it go and taking responsibility for not teaching her daughter how to act properly, she berated the nanny, telling her that she should have said something to her daughter. Because yes, blame the woman that you're paying to raise your kids instead of the kid itself, who probably has abandonment issues, Kourtney. While the Kardashians have had problems with their staff individually, there seems to be one specifically toxic trait that this family shares as a unit. They don't like to pay people. Former employees have come forward over the years calling out the family for not paying them fair wages and no overtime. The Kardashians don't cover basic things. Basic expenses like gas, food, rent, everything is out of the employee's pocket with zero money coming back to them. To make matters worse, the Kardashians would not pay them on a set amount of days, meaning that you just got paid when you got paid and had to deal with it. You would think with the family being one of the richest in the entire world that they would at least pay people that help them run their lives. While they have a massive staff of people cooking their food, folding their clothes, and raising their kids, they barely even acknowledge their existence. Just imagine what would happen if the staff decided to walk out on this family. They would crumble in less than a day. Number 10, grave shopping. Window shopping is not weird. We all love to mindlessly walk around a store that we know well and good we will be purchasing nothing from. But the Kardashian family doesn't go to Hot Topic, or maybe they do. I live in Toronto, I've never seen them. Instead, this family likes to window shop for coffins and grave plots. During an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, momager Kris decided that the best gift she could get for her kids was a nice, comfortable place to keep their lifeless husks tucked away when they pass. Kris and the crew spent the day trying to decide what model of coffin they wanted to purchase, with Kris going so far as to getting into a coffin to see if it was cozy. Hey Kris, if you're trying to get cozy in a coffin, you're still alive! Bang on that lid, man! On top of shopping for physical coffins, she also took the kids on a tour of a graveyard that seemed to boast some pretty stellar plots. There is such a serious conversation over the choice of in the ground or in a mausoleum made of marble. Yeah, which one do you think they picked? Number 9, mystery meat. Following a brief discussion on the practice of eating the stuff that comes out after we're born, yep, that's a thing apparently, Kim and Courtney decided to hatch a plot where they would trick their family into thinking they had just eaten placenta. There, I'm only saying it once, from now on it'll be called the stuff. The sisters go through an elaborate preparation and brag to their family about the mystery meat that they had purchased. As the evening went on, they continued to plant the seeds right up until the forks were plunged deep into the meat. Following the meal, they decided that it was the perfect time to tell their family they had just dined on the stuff. Of course, their immediate reaction is disgust and anger at the same time. Don't eat mystery meat, guys, especially if it's cooked by Kim Kardashian. That could be a person for all you know. They let the prank play out for some time, with Caitlyn Jenner almost blowing her chunks all over the table. After a few moments of panic, they let it slip that the meat that they were eating had actually been brisket. But needless to say, Kim's no longer in charge of family dinner night. Number 8, the Pepsi commercial. Sponsored brand deals can mean a lot of money for the people involved. Just look at every cologne on the planet. They hire someone to stand on a beach for them for like 30 seconds and make $1 million. Around 2017, Kendall Jenner decided to partner with the soda brand Pepsi to create a commercial that would act as both an ad and a PSA against hate. The commercial consisted of hundreds of people from different parts of the world drinking Pepsi, and eventually everyone comes together on the streets on what appeared to be New York, I'm not sure. Kendall looks to the crowd, wipes off her makeup, and follows suit. And the cringe comes when the crowd of people appear to be at a standoff with the police. Kendall walks through the crowd and hands an officer a can of Pepsi. He sips it, and the crowd cheers before they swarm the cops, who are suddenly just cool with everything that's going on. The ad was meant to be a political statement following the passing of several African American men and women in the United States, aiming to bring people together, which it did, but for the wrong reasons. The world collectively cringed at this absolute mess, forcing Kendall to drop an apology video on that season's premiere of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. She may have apologized, but we will still never forget this strange brand collaboration. Number 7, the birthday suit shoot. Momager Kris Jenner has been a big part of the family unit for a long time. In fact, she's one of the main reasons that her kids are such good liars. The older we get, the more we clamor for our glory glory days. With Kris, she decided she wanted to recapture that youthful image in a birthday suit swimsuit at her home. During the episode titled Let It Go, the Kardashian kids enter their backyard only to discover that their mother is taking rather spicy photos in a see-through swimsuit. Not something that anyone wants to see their mom doing. Kris was quick to tell the girls there was nothing wrong with the shoot and that she was simply trying to show off her curves, but her clan wanted none of it and instead let their mother know exactly how they felt. The momager just continues to take photos despite her kids now being present at the home, and at one point Kim literally tells her mom that she's scarring them for life. The moment was more awkward than anything else, but certainly shows just how little regard Kris actually has for her kids. Number 6. Selfie! If you're a Kardashian, any moment is a good photo op, whether it's on a luxurious boat in the Caribbean or in an SUV on the way to jail. Anytime is selfie time. During an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, the crew were on their way to drop Khloe off at prison after she violated her probation. Things in the car were intense, but Kim decided to diffuse the tension by snapping a couple of candid pics of herself and her sisters. The entire ride was filled with cringy moments, including Kris suggesting that they all go get some pre-jail IHOP and chill out. The funniest thing about the moment is that Khloe seems pretty calm and collected considering she's going to jail, while her mother is just furious from start to finish. Needless to say, if your sibling is being arrested, don't take family photos on the way to the prison. Number 5. Shut your mouth. When Scott Disick was still with Kourtney Kardashian, he was a regular wild man on the show. He would regularly get into situations that made him look like the absolute worst, which he was. During one particularly rough moment on the show, Scott was accompanied by the rest of the crew to Las Vegas, Nevada for some wholesome family fun. Nah, I'm just kidding, they drank no-no juice a lot. At one point, Scott becomes so intoxicated that he loses control of his emotions and berates a waiter for simply doing his job. He then proceeds to give him a tip by jamming $100 in his mouth. The waiter pushed back and walks away, which is probably a good move. If Scott Disick shoved $100 in my mouth, well, I'm poor, I'd probably take it and spend it on my hydro bill. Scott is one of the messiest members of the family, despite not being a blood-born Kardashian, but thankfully Courtney eventually came to her senses and dumped him like yesterday's lunch. Number 4. Kylie's billions. Kylie Jenner made the cover of Forbes magazine in 2019 as the youngest self-made billionaire ever, following the successful partnership between her cosmetic brand and Ulta, which was like a beauty salon company. It turned out that that wasn't actually the case though. Jenner allegedly sold half of her cosmetics company, Kylie Cosmetics, to the beauty giant Coty in a deal worth $1.2 billion. Now this was huge and considered to be one of the greatest celebrity cash outs of all time. But the first rule of being a famous person is, if you can help it, maybe try not to lie, especially to Forbes magazine, who did some digging and revealed that Jenner was actually inflating the size and profit margins of her business. It turns out that the cosmetic brand was actually much smaller than originally thought, and it was uncovered that Jenner only actually made about $314 million after taxes from the company. The revelation was briefly covered on an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, but it was ultimately edited to make the situation look less severe than it actually was. The reality was Kylie was lying about her money, tricking people who wanted to invest, and let's not even start with where her cosmetics come from. It's understaffed factories with non-protective gear. Good luck, Kylie. Number 3. 2020. Who cares? In 2020, while most of the world was shut down and we were all forced to stay in our houses, the rich and powerful were living it up, especially the Kardashian family. Despite the entire world throwing a close sign over their doors, Kim and her sisters decided they cared more about seeing their buddies than saving the world. Kim rented a private island for her 40th birthday, an entire island for about 30 people. Yep, that makes sense. Kim decided to post photos and videos from the event, which were of course met with immediate backlash. Kim was quick to defend herself by claiming that every person there had stayed inside and away from people for at least 2 weeks. They all tested negative, blah blah blah. In her post, she claimed that the event was to help herself and her friends feel normal during a particularly hard time in history. Hey man, I would've liked to do that too, but I don't have any K's in my name. Not only did Kim throw a lavish private party, but her sister Kendall did the exact same thing, only much worse. Kendall decided it would be an awesome idea to throw a private rooftop Halloween party in Hollywood, California, and invited not 30, but 100 of her closest friends. Again, the crew claimed that everyone attending the event was tested and good to go, but the reality was nobody knows what went down or where they came from. Most of them probably showed up in a helicopter or something. Freaking famous jerks. Number 2. Cut the cucumber. Alright, anybody who's ever made a meal has probably chopped a vegetable once or twice. For me, it was only once, never again. For Kendall Jenner, it seems like the answer is she's never done it. During an episode of the latest version of the reality show, The Kardashians, Kendall was shot attempting to cut a cucumber, and I do mean attempting. Like in the footage, she moves her hands around in a weird way that makes her like chop the cucumber backwards. I don't know. This woman has clearly never taken a single cooking class class in her life. And I'd like to thank my high school cooking teacher, Mr. Kendall, for being so good at his job and preventing me from looking like this. Seriously, she was holding the already cut side of the cucumber trying to grip it. Like, just watch one YouTube tutorial. The moment went viral online and she received massive amounts of online hate, with many asking the question why she was trying to make herself a snack. Like, we all know that these people have a literal closet full of chefs waiting to be activated and put into cook mode. Next time, Kendall should just go on Amazon and buy the automatic cucumber slicer for 3 easy payments of $99.99. And at number 1, girls don't work these days. In March 2022, the Kardashian clan were doing a profile for the outlet Variety. When the question was asked, what advice do you have for women aiming to be entrepreneurs? Kim decided to declare that women simply needed to get off their bums and work. Nobody wants to work these days. The tone-deaf statement was met with massive amounts of backlash. Considering Kim comes from a long line of wealthy people, it's no surprise that she would receive such public hate. If I was born rich, I'd probably be telling people to work harder too, but like, Kim gets paid to basically look good and be on TV, that's it. Oh yeah, definitely hard work being done there. Oh, so exhausting.
Number 10, worst of the bunch. Of all the members of the clan, Kendall Jenner has been consistently brought up as simultaneously the most relatable and the meanest. She may take up the most points on this list all by her lonesome. As the first and probably most minor complaint against her, a TikTok video where a fan recalled meeting Kim Kardashian in New York City also happened to throw shade at Kendall at the same time. In the video, the TikToker praised Kim for being, quote, the most polite celebrity I've ever met. Talking about the celebrities that she has met, the TikToker said, quote, including Kendall, who I can't say the same about. It was interesting how when the conversation was about Kendall specifically, the TikToker made note that, quote, Kendall could learn a thing or two. The post made its way to Reddit where other fans joined in on the conversation and their opinions on Kendall. One user wrote, Kendall has always just given me that reserved, wiry, shy but rude kind of vibe on the show. I wasn't sure if that was her in character. There was also one commenter that claimed to not know a single Keeping Up with the Kardashians fan who had a positive experience when meeting Kendall Jenner in real life. And here's an example of that very thing. Number 9, no tip for you. Back in 2014, a waitress accused Kendall Jenner of skipping out on a $60 bill and not leaving a tip. But wait, when the waitress allegedly chased after Kendall Jenner to get the money, Kendall turned around and threw cash in the woman's face and then laughed. It doesn't even sound like real life. The waitress then took to Twitter saying, quote, that horrible moment when you chase a Kardashian down the street because she forgot to pay her bill to be thrown money in your face. Kendall did respond to the rumors, but by calling them ridiculous, and she then had her lawyers whip up a cease and desist letter to the server. Nothing kinda says guilt like an instant cease and desist letter. I wouldn't know, I'm just thinking that's what it's like. 3 years later though, Kendall was also not a good customer at a bar in Brooklyn when a server posted a since deleted picture of a bill for just $24 that Kendall had signed but left the tip field blank. Now Kendall responded to this one as well, but by saying that she paid it in cash, but the bar accused her of lying. What are your thoughts on tipping? I know that it's one of the main benefits of waiting tables or bartending, so to skip out on that for me is pretty vile. Number 8, Sugar Factory. All those many years ago, back in 2016, Kendall's younger sister, Kylie Jenner, was at the opening of Sugar Factory in Orlando, Florida. For her arrival, Kylie had around 3,000 of her fans waiting for her, only for them to apparently be disappointed. The official press release from Sugar Factory themselves, of course, had almost entirely positive things to say surrounding the opening and Kylie's participation in it, but one publication, Star Magazine, seemed to see things a little differently. Coming from an insider source, the magazine got reports that Kylie's appearance at the opening was actually, quote, a huge disappointment, and that apparently she was rude to the majority of her fans. Star Magazine stated that apparently the youngest of the Kardashians/Jenners apparently showed up to the event an hour late, and if that weren't bad enough, she only stayed for about 5 minutes to take a few selfies and then just dipped on out of there, leaving fans dissatisfied and disappointed. Number 7, fitness. For a period of time in like the mid-2010s, Khloe Kardashian was pretty heavily focused on her fitness and getting into shape. Hell yeah, we love living healthily. But going along with that time in her life, Khloe would often post her workouts on social media, specifically Snapchat, for fans to follow along to and get themselves in shape alongside the celebrity. But as usually is the case, there was criticism, and some fans didn't think the videos were all that good. Well, Khloe understandably snapped back on Snapchat in 2017. With the pottiest of potty mouths, she addressed the seemingly impossible to please fans, saying, quote, "What bothers me so much about people is that I'm giving you guys my workouts on my snaps for free." She continued on, quote, "Why the F are you still complaining and saying, if I had a trainer, if I had a gym? Well, I don't have a gym. We're doing everything outside. I'm showing you guys how to do the workout so you don't need a trainer. I'm using everything that I'm sure you guys have around the house or could improvise. What the F?" To be completely honest, I actually kind of agree with her. To complain that the videos she made out to share her experience and to try and help people who want to work out aren't good enough is kind of just a little rude. But then again, she also said if only complaining burned calories, you guys would be some healthy I can't say the whole of the sentence, but you get what I'm saying? Kinda waiting it out. Number 6, nobodies. Now, we all need to just sit back and take this one with a little itty tiny bitty grain of salt. When a magazine uses the words insider source, more than half the time, it's just someone off the internet or someone who is not actually an insider, and therefore their statements cannot be taken as fact. It's also worth noting that most people have found Kim to be the nicest person of the family when meeting fans. But, that being said, Kim Kardashian allegedly calls her fans stupid little nobodies. According to Star magazine, in 2012, an insider source, quote unquote, told the publication that, quote, Kris has text and voicemails from Kim where she calls her audience gullible, ouch, stupid imbeciles, ooh, boring little nobodies, yikes, and pathetic people with no lives of their own. Mic drop. Ouch, my feelings are hurt. I'm not a fan, but my feelings are still hurt. Don't be so rude. If you didn't actually say those things though, I'm sorry. And you're great, Kim. You're a great person. Number 5. Well then, I'm sure that most of us can agree that social media, but specifically Twitter, is a cesspool of meme lords, trolls, and keyboard warriors. You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. Twitter is like a breeding ground for hot takes, upsetting political stances, taking shots at famous people who would never normally give you the time of day, and, apparently, wannabe sports commentators. Those very same sport fans found a way to both comment on the state of the Cleveland Cavaliers and take shots at Khloe Kardashian in one swift move. One Twitter user tweeted, presumably as a joke, quote, Cavs haven't been playing too well since Khloe Kardashian. Just saying. That's because Khloe had been in a toxic as hell relationship with Tristan Thompson, who was playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers. For the record though, it was Tristan that was the toxic one, but in defense of her boo and the team he plays for, Khloe decided to clap back, and in her well-worded rebuttal, Khloe tweeted, quote, they are number 1 in their conference, but thanks for sucking my expletive. Hard enough to think I have that much power. Lick on my expletive while you're at it. I think we can all agree Khloe is truly a wizard of words. A true poet, I think. Very nice. Very good. Number 4, Selfie. Last year, Hulu's Victoria's Secret documentary was available for the world to watch, but one clip from the documentary in particular caught some attention, and it was Kendall Jenner, back again, being a true Scorpio. It's a very short clip, but essentially the scene sees Kendall sitting on what looks like a makeup chair with a silk pink robe on, and a group of fans behind her. Basically, Kendall reaches back, takes a phone from one of the fans, snaps a couple selfies, and then hands it back. That's all that happened, but the whole thing was just so funny because, other than the brief moment where she smiled for the selfie, Kendall was not just straight-faced, but she had the stank face on. The one where you really just ain't there to even pretend to be nice to people. That kind of face. I feel like we all know what we're talking about. The fan looked like she was being silently told off when Kendall handed that phone back, and when Kendall turns back to camera with this annoyed eyebrow raise kind of thing, she looks like she wishes she would be anywhere else. Of course, the clip made its way to Twitter where people voiced their thoughts, like this one person who tweeted, quote, this clip of Kendall from the Hulu Victoria's Secret doc really says a lot about who she probably is. Someone on Reddit added, quote, that eyebrow raise and look of annoyance is irritating my soul. One more person did make a good point though when they wrote, it is actually disgusting. They forget that the fans are the reason they have what they have. And that is primarily kinda true, ain't it? Number 3, not in the mood. Now look, Being a celebrity, having people wanting to take pictures with you all the time can be very exhausting, and celebrities have every right to say no when they don't want to take pictures with their fans. Point blank. Just as every person is allowed to say they don't want to pose for a picture. In an episode of Courtney and Khloe Take the Hamptons, Kourtney Kardashian and Scott Disick are off taking a casual ride through his childhood neighborhood in an old convertible. As is bound to happen, a few girls end up noticing them at a stop sign and they ask if they can take a picture with the stars. Scott was all for it, saying sure, but Kourtney quickly follows up with no! And they continued on with their drive through memory lane. Now Scott apologized to the fans saying, "Alright, sorry, she said no," as they drove off, and Scott is like, "That's not very nice," and she explains she simply didn't want to get out of the car and that she's quote, "not in the mood for a pic." Honestly, fair, she doesn't have to be, but I think she could have maybe been just like a wee bit nicer about it. I don't know. What do you think? Number 2, best spot in the shade. Ever been asked to move so a celeb can take a photo shoot where you were comfortably chillin'? Well, a TikToker by the name of Lizudel called out Kim Kardashian for allegedly booting her out of this really chill area at Revolve Festival that was right by a lake with like really nice grass, some decent shade, and it had like a fire pit. It was a good spot to get, but it was also a great spot for a photo shoot, and that's exactly what Kim wanted it for. The caption in the clip says, quote, "Right before Kim K kicked us out of this shady chill spot at Revolve," with the caption accompanying the clips reading, "Much love to your photo shoot," which is kind of like passive aggressive, so obviously the TikToker was a little peeved about it, but to be completely fair, reactions in the comments were pretty mixed. Some folks agreed and thought that it was messed up for Kim Kardashian to ask anyone to move, but others made a good point. Kim was promoting the brand Revolve that were running the festival in the first place, so these fans reasoned that it's fair that Kim gets to choose where she wants the photos taken. One comment read, quote, "Well duh, they invited influencers. Nobody knows who you are. They're gonna make you move." And that actually seemed to make a little bit of sense to a lot of people and to me as well, to be perfectly honest, but at the same time, when an area is available publicly for everyone, being expected to move so that Kim Kardashian can take a photo, it kinda sucks. Number 1, even at the airport. We gotta end the list with Kendall Jenner yet again. I'm so sorry. There are just so many more instances of Kendall being less than great with people as there are for any of the other Kardashians. As part of an ongoing series, a former LAX employee has been taking to TikTok, ranking her experiences with some of the many celebrities she's crossed paths with during her years working at the airport. Kendall Jenner was one of those celebrities, and the TikTok did not paint her in a great picture. The former employee described her interactions with Kendall saying, quote, "Every time she flew out, she was not really friendly to anybody and just walked around like really arrogant." Then she slapped Kendall with a 2 out of 10 rating. 2 is pretty good, right? It's 1 more than 1 and 2 more than 0, so I'd say that's something. This TikTok pretty heavily reminds me of the first and second point on this list. I promise I don't have anything against Kendall, she just seems to be the one who consistently gets called out for being a little unsavory with employees and general people. While it's possible these are just instances of negative experiences staffers had with Kendall, the consistency of the bad experiences, coupled with all that we have seen from Kendall and everyone else, doesn't paint a great picture of her or anyone's character.
Number 10. Kim and Drake. Drake is a famous Canadian rap artist, and I've heard he's got a pretty stellar candy room in his mansion. Sounds pretty fun. Recently, Drake dropped a song called Search and Rescue, now available on Spotify. Halfway through the track, the music cuts out and a voice clip of Kim Kardashian and her mother Kris from an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians begins to play. The intention was to throw shade at Kanye West, whom Drake has had problems with in the past, but it only added fuel to the rumor fire surrounding his alleged affair with Kim during her marriage to Kanye. In the clip, Kim says, "I don't come this far just to not be happy. Remember that." On top of this, many fans have brought up Drake's lyrics from his song In My Feelings, claiming that Kiki is actually Kim herself. Hardcore internet sleuths sifted through his lyrics and discovered that if you take the directions that he's rapping about in the song and start at Drake's house in LA, it actually takes you directly to Kim's front gate. Coincidence? I think not. Number 9. Kendall and Bad Bunny. Not long ago, Kendall Jenner was dating a basketball player from the Phoenix Suns named Devin Booker. Devin and Kendall were together for over 2 years, first getting together in 2020. However, in 2022, the couple had a quiet breakup that left fans wondering what really happened to end what seemed to be such a strong relationship. Well, it turns out there may have been another man. Or a bunny, if you will. I'm just gonna show myself out. Jeez. Bad Bunny is a popular rapper, singer, songwriter, and now actor, after briefly starring in last year's action comedy Bullet Train as the Wolf. In March of this year, Bunny seemingly dissed Kendall's ex, Booker, in his track Coco Chanel. He rapped, "The sun in Puerto Rico is hotter than in Phoenix." And a few weeks following the song's release, Kendall introduced Bunny to her horse, Arizona, in California. Oh, that's so cute, you named it Arizona. The couple are officially together. Let's see how long this one lasts. Number 8. Devin Booker and Kendall Jenner. Jenner and Booker were first spotted together on a double date with other people. At the time, Booker was dating Kylie's best friend, Jordyn Woods, and Jenner was dating Ben Simmons. In February of 2019, it was revealed that Booker and Woods' relationship had fizzled out. But not long after the announcement, Woods was caught kissing Khloe Kardashian's boo, Tristan Thompson. Yeah, this is just gonna be very messy. Kardashian and Thompson split, and with that, Kylie's friendship with Woods was gone. But what that meant was that Kendall and Devin were free to do whatever they wanted. It was confirmed they were seeing each other after multiple sources caught them road tripping together over the summer of 2020. They were together for roughly 2 years before calling it quits in 2022, taking a break to figure out if their future together was actually meant to be. They got back together, but ultimately ended things on good terms in November of that same year. Number 7. Kylie Jenner and Timothée Chalamet. Timothée Chalamet is slowly building his acting repertoire in Hollywood, and so far it's going pretty well. He starred as the lead in Dune, and he was recently announced to be playing a young Willy Wonka in a TV series chronicling Wonka's rise to glory. It was also recently announced that he was seeing Kylie Jenner like every week. While the announcement of them being a couple is a little out of nowhere, the fact is that Kylie has been co-parenting her 2 kids with Travis Scott, and Travis did not appreciate the secrecy. He said that he felt blindsided by the announcement, but he respects her decision to move on romantically. This relationship isn't all that recent, however, it was reported that the two may have shared a private moment or two during her marriage to Scott. Neither party have confirmed nor denied the rumors, but just seeing these two in a picture together makes us think that there is no way this relationship is that fresh, right? Number 6. Kim Kardashian and Pete Davidson. Pete Davidson was the youngest cast member on Saturday Night Live when he was hired at the age of 20. He was the youngest cast member of all time. In 2021, Kim Kardashian hosted an episode of the show and starred in a sketch with Pete, parodying A Whole New World from the Disney film Aladdin. The sketch was okay, but apparently sitting that close to each other all week really got them going. At the time, Kim was still involved with rapper Kanye West, who actually attended the live show, but apparently stormed out of the room following her scene with Pete. Apparently, Kanye had been present at rehearsals all week, and he remembers regularly seeing Pete and Kim smiling and laughing together while he was being ignored entirely. Kim and Kanye began their divorce process not long after that show, and simultaneously, Pete announced that him and Kim were official. They were only together for about a year, but it was enough time for Pete to get close to her family and even get a tattoo of her kid's name on his arm, which sounds hardcore, but he has like a million tattoos, so it's probably jammed between like a skull and an MGK portrait. Who knows? Number 5. Kourtney Kardashian and Travis Barker. Travis Barker is the drummer of the popular band Blink-182. Travis and Kourtney met after Barker had spent some time with the Kardashian crew at her mom Kris Jenner's house in California. Following the official news of their relationship, many fans were quick to comment on the short time between her relationship with Barker and that of her ex-boo, Luka Sabat. According to Kris herself, Travis and Kourtney began flirting while she was still seeing someone. Their connection was so strong from the beginning, but unfortunately that meant the end of one relationship but the start of a new one too. Kourtney appears to be very happy with the Blink-182 drummer, and Luka doesn't seem to have any issues with them being together, so I guess this is a cheating scandal with a happy ending for now. Number 4. Kim and Kanye. Kim Kardashian and Kanye West started dating in 2012 and they were officially married 2 years later in 2014. During their marriage, life was rocky to say the least. While Kim was fairly tame for the most part, as we all know, Kanye was slowly having a mental breakdown. He was posting hate speech and racially fueled tweets and constantly sharing his political views as well as publicly backing Donald Trump. Is it really any surprise that Kim found comfort in another man's arms? While hosting Saturday Night Live in 2021, Kim met Pete Davidson, previously mentioned, while still married to Kanye. Kanye discovered that Kim and Pete began dating following the live show, and it seemed to be the final breaking point. Apparently only a few months before the show, Ye and Kim were constantly arguing about everything. And following the divorce, Kim revealed that she would constantly be trying to help Kanye understand why his views and his words were just so wrong. She wanted him to get better, but instead he doubled down and filed for a divorce. Kim is now happily single and received joint custody of her 4 kids, so it's a win-win for the Kardashian clan, and for Kanye, well, Number 3, Taiga and Kylie Jenner. Michael Ray Stevenson, known professionally as Taiga, is an American rap artist with a long list of bops under his belt. In 2011, he was asked to perform at Kendall Jenner's Sweet 16, and her sister Kylie was smitten. The two would keep in contact over the years, but rumors of them being a couple were shot down constantly until 2012, when he broke off his relationship with fiancée Blac Chyna, also a rap artist. It appeared that the split was due to the revelation that Kylie and Taiga were in fact an item. Taiga looked to Twitter to defend his actions, telling people not to believe the rumors. He's been friends with the family forever, they're all just friends. A year later though, they posted a photo on Halloween of themselves wearing a couple's costume, Chucky and the bride of Chucky. A couple of years went by and the pair were constantly seen together on dates, posted several pictures together on Instagram, and Taiga even bought her a Ferrari on her 18th birthday. They eventually split, and Kylie has moved on a couple of times with her next partner, Party Next Door, who is a person, that is a terrible name, even posting a photo on Instagram comparing his watches to Taiga's and claiming that the more diamonds the better. Alright boys, let's not stand around all day comparing watch sizes. Number 2, Kim Kardashian and Ray J. In this case, Kim was the staff that had the affair. You see, herself and the rap artist shared a 3-year relationship, but they met before Kim was famous while she was working as a stylist for his sister Brandy. At the time they met, Kim was still married to Damon Thomas, but apparently wasn't too happy with the relationship. She took part in an affair with Ray J and called it off with Thomas. During their time together, a certain tape was released online without Kim's permission, and the content contained explicit material of herself and Ray J doing the nasty. She sued the company that released it for $5 million to retrieve the rights and own the film. Following the release of the tape, their relationship quickly crumbled, and it was later revealed that both parties were cheating the entire time. And despite them having the knowledge of that, they just, they didn't care. They just kept doing it. Number 1, Kris Jenner and Robert Kardashian. Mama Kris Jenner met Robert Kardashian at a horse race in California in 1973, and immediately sparks flew. At that time, Kris was in a committed relationship with Cesar Sonato, a pro golfer. He was often gone so long that there were gaps in their relationship, and Robert filled that gap. Kris began an affair with Robert that lasted for quite some time until one day Cesar returned home early and walked in on the couple doing the no pants dance. Needless to say, Cesar broke it off with Kris right away, but Robert also broke things off with Kris, claiming that she wasn't mature enough for a serious relationship. Yeah, no duh, dude. Robert was basically a mistress. He wasn't much more mature himself. He began dating Elvis Presley's daughter, but that relationship failed too, and Robert ended up returning to Kris's arms. They were married for a little over a decade when Kris proved that she had not matured at all. She took part in another affair, and this time it was with soccer player Todd Waterman. Robert hired private investigators after becoming suspicious of Kris, and he was proven right. So if there's anything to take away from this video, is if you think your partner is cheating, you're probably right. People are horrible now. Number 10, Kim's nannies. Kim Kardashian is arguably one of the most famous of the Kardashian sisters, and it would also seem she's the busiest. For example, Kim has 4 kids, a skincare line, her Skims brand, she's attending law school, co-founded an equity team, and even recently hopped on the podcast train. In addition to filming her new reality show on Hulu. You may be asking yourself, how does one woman do all of that by herself? Well, she pays people to do it for her, duh. She has multiple assistants and nannies to help her stay above the overwhelming workload, but has been known to treat them as lesser than herself. For instance, on several occasions, Kim and her daughter North would go to lunch accompanied by a nanny, but Kim would always make her nanny sit at a separate table far away from them when they were in restaurants. But she is known to make her nannies also walk at least like 10 feet away from her at all times. Unless she has multiple nannies with her at once, then she likes to make them stand in like a V formation because it looks cool apparently. If they walk near her or attempt to try and walk side by side, she blows up at them behind closed doors. And needless to say, she has had many nannies over the year and has probably made a lot of them cry at least once. Number 9, Courtney in general. While Kim may not be the best boss in the world, it's Courtney who is known as the absolute worst boss of all time. According to former nannies, Courtney was by far the worst Kardashian to work for. Not only is she a neat freak, needing every single thing to be exactly where it should be, but she's also known for being surprisingly cheap, even once calling a grocery store while she was shopping to compare the prices of a chicken breast. Because, if anyone needs that extra 99 cents, it's Courtney. But this isn't the worst thing she's done. At one time, Courtney's daughter had bitten a nanny so hard that she had to quit. But instead of letting it go and taking responsibility for not teaching her daughter how to act properly, she actually berated the nanny and told her that she should have said something to her daughter in the moment. Cause yes, blame the woman that you're paying to raise your child instead of the child itself, who's probably got some kind of an abandonment issue. Number 8. Toxic chemicals. Kylie Jenner is the youngest of the Kardashian clan, is extremely successful for her age. In 2019, she made the cover of Forbes magazine as the youngest self-made billionaire ever, following the successful partnership between her cosmetic brand and Ulta, a beauty salon company, which would allow the brand previously only available online and in random pop-up stores to be placed on shelves in Ulta's 1,000 plus stores. This is unfortunate considering the true nature of just where those products come from. You see, many employees at the factory that mix and package her makeup have reported that they were never given any proper safety equipment that one would require to do that job. They were only given hairnets, lab coats, and safety goggles, leaving their hands and faces completely exposed. And workers would regularly report migraines, mild chemical burns on their hands, and a myriad of other symptoms. If this isn't bad enough, they were also forced to act as human test subjects for Kylie's new products. Now, Kylie was very proud of her company not testing products on animals, but we can agree that using people like guinea pigs is like a billion times worse, right guys? Number 7. The underpay. While the Kardashians have had their problems with staff individually, there seems to be one specifically toxic trait that the family shares as a unit. They don't like to pay people. Former employees have come forward over the years calling out the family for not paying them fair wages or overtime hours. The Kardashians don't cover expenses, meaning gas, food, rent, anything that you need is paid out of pocket, with zero money coming back to you. To make matters worse, the Kardashians wouldn't pay them on a set amount of days, meaning you just kinda got a check when you got a check and had to deal with it in between A and B. You would think with the family being one of the richest in the world that they would at least pay the people that help run their lives. Now, while they have a massive staff of people cooking their food, folding their clothes, and raising their children, they barely even acknowledge their existence. Just imagine what would happen if that staff decided to walk out. The family would crumble in less than a day. Number 6. Factory workers. Popping back to Kylie's makeup factory for a moment, we felt the need to split her misdoings into 2 separate entries simply because of just how messed up this place really is. Not only do they not have proper safety equipment and are basically used as human test subjects whenever Kylie wants, the factory itself is small and cramped, with many employees claiming that there were too many workers and not enough space. This description sounds very similar to, a sweatshop, which is a word describing a workplace in which the employees work ridiculous hours and brutal conditions for nearly nothing for pay. And a lot of people agreed with that statement. One former tester recounts having to constantly go back and forth to the bathroom as her anxiety was always through the roof. She was around so many people so much of her day, and it was such a terrible work environment. We completely understand the need to escape. At one point a few years back, Kylie even refused to pay her employees at a garment factory in Bangladesh, leaving thousands of employees with no money and no idea when or if they were going to return to work. Man, you know what? You suck, Kylie. Number 5. Victoria. Victoria Valero has been Kylie's close personal assistant since 2015, but the pair go back to 2014 when she was interning as a personal assistant for Kylie's mother, Kris. After gaining the family's trust, she was hired as Kylie's house manager at first, but soon after became her personal assistant. Herself and Jenner became very close over the years, and Victoria was even present at the secret birth of Kylie's daughter, Stormi. Now you would think with being so close to the family through thick and thin that she would want to stick around, right? Well, all good things must come to an end, as Victoria decided to quit in 2019. Many fans allege that she had just quit her job to focus on becoming an Instagram influencer, but that was far from her real reason for leaving. Being in that family means seeing a lot of stuff and doing a lot of stuff, and Victoria was basically in charge of scheduling Kylie's life, booking appointments, meetings, massages, all of this stressful enough, basically being a 24/7 gig, but the job was also very degrading, with Kylie having Victoria even pull out a stool once and set it up outside so that Kylie could get out of her car smoother. I think anyone in their right mind would want to get out of that job as quickly as possible. Number 4. Paid in exposure. When Andre Turbia, a very famous YouTube animator and content creator, was asked to work with Kylie Jenner, he thought that his life would change forever. He was under the impression that the collaboration would grant him a huge amount of money, possibly a guest spot on her reality TV show, and maybe some shoutouts online via Instagram and Twitter. However, when Andre brought up the topic of his compensations to Jenner, she responded with, "Oh, the company doesn't actually have a budget right now to pay you, so we're just gonna have to pay you in exposure." Like, okay, that's cool. You can't cook exposure in a frying pan and eat it for dinner though, and I'm pretty sure it's not currency accepted at any gas stations or banks that I know of. And of course, by exposure, she meant that Andre's name was going to be printed as small as possible underneath her content. Andre did what anyone in their right mind would do in that situation and refused to work with her, telling her to take her exposure and shove it where the sun don't shine. Number 3, GoFundMe. In March 2021, Kylie, oh look, she's back again, shared an Instagram post asking for prayers for one of her makeup artist named Samuel Rhoda. The post redirected fans to a GoFundMe page where they were asking to donate money for covering his medical bills for an upcoming surgery. That's right, the woman made a feature on Forbes' top 60 self-made women and was asking her fans to give over the goods. So why would she not just use some of her billions of dollars to cover the bills herself? Well, she went online to claim that her and Sam didn't actually know each other personally, but she had worked with him a few years ago and thought that he was a sweetheart. Supposedly, her current makeup artist had shared a post about Samuel's accident, which included a link to a GoFundMe campaign created by his family. She went on to let fans know that she herself donated like $5,000. Okay, sure, that's a ton of money for us, but for Jenner, that's like $5. So something tells me the surgery is going to be a little bit more than that. This is just another instance proving that Kylie is the absolute worst. Number 2, Forbes flub. Oh, I'm sorry, was that not enough proof for you that Kylie sucks? Well, hey, here you go. As mentioned earlier in this list, Kylie Jenner made the cover of Forbes magazine in 2019 as the youngest self-made billionaire ever, following the successful partnership between her cosmetic brand, named after herself, and Ulta, a beauty salon company. Well, it turned out that wasn't really the case. Jenner allegedly sold half of her cosmetics company, Kylie Cosmetics, to beauty giant Coty in a deal worth $1.2 billion. Now, this was huge and considered one of the greatest celebrity cash outs of all time. But the first rule of being a famous person is, if you can help it, try not to lie. Especially to like Forbes magazine, who did some digging and revealed that Jenner was actually inflating the size and profit margins of her business. It turned out the cosmetic brand was on a much smaller scale than originally thought, as it was uncovered Jenner only actually made around $314 million after taxes for her company. Several financial advisors backed up the story, claiming that they were berated into complying with the lie and made to help maintain the numbers for publicity's sake. The mother of the family, Kris, even played a key role in gathering false business documents to send to Forbes, making her company appear to be in the billions. Remember, if you can't figure something out, just ask mom. And number 1, the lawsuit. In March of 2021, a lawsuit was arranged by several of Kim's former employees. The plaintiffs claim Kardashian West failed to pay overtime, cover expenses, or provide any legally mandated breaks, which, like, hey, super illegal. They also never received actual pay stubs or any proof of payment whatsoever. They were also made to purchase everything out of pocket, and one plaintiff was even fired on the spot for simply addressing his concerns to Kim. And when the rest were eventually let go, they received no type of severance package or pay of any kind. It was also uncovered that Kim would keep 10% of all of their earnings for tax purposes, but failed to report their employment to tax authorities. Kim's argument was that she could not be held responsible for any of this, as most of her employees were supposedly hired and paid by a third-party company, meaning that she herself was not technically their direct employer and therefore could not be liable. Kim maintains that she paid people on time and that they were suing the wrong person, but if that were the case, maybe Kardashian would have used some of her high status and influence long ago to make things work for her staff so that, hey, maybe she wouldn't be getting sued right now. Something to think about, Kim.
Coming in at number 10 today, we have Sarah Michelle Gellar. Back in 2014, Sarah Michelle Gellar definitely became Buffy the Kimye Slayer when she threw some serious shade at Kim Kardashian in Kanye West's first ever Vogue cover. Shortly after Anna Wintour approved April issue was revealed, Sarah would head over to her Twitter to say, well, guess I'm canceling my Vogue's description, "Who is with me?" While many fans agreed with Sarah's tweet, including me, Kim Kardashian's best friend, Jonathan Schunab, would retweet Geller's post and he would say, "Do you even matter?" Buffy fanatics would then even start to argue that she very much does. After much of a debate, even Anna Wintour would come out to defend her controversial choice to place the reality TV star and the rapper on her issue cover in the editor's letter by saying, "As for the cover, my opinion is that both are charming and touching, and it is, I should add, entirely our idea to do it. You may have read that Kanye begged me to put his fiancée on Vogue's cover. He did nothing of sort, but if you have to come out to claim something like this, it's most likely it was true." Coming in at number 9, we have Jonah Hill. In 2011, Jonah Hill would end up slamming the Kardashian family in an interview, but even after admitting he hated everything the family represents, he still can't stop watching the show. During the interview, Jonah would count himself among the ranks of those who are still keeping up with the Kardashians, but only with great reluctance. And he even was too duped by Kim's wedding, and he would even state that the show took money and attention from people in the television industry who actually worked to create compelling original programming. Also, in the interview, he would go on to note that the whole show was a giant joke, and then he went on to say, "The truth is, I have friends who work in TV, and Kardashians get higher ratings than their TV shows. That people actually work hard on writing and creating, trying to tell their stories. The fact that Kardashians could be more popular than a show like Mad Men, it's disgusting." But that doesn't mean he doesn't watch, as he would then go on to say, "I can't even understand it, so I watch it. I think it's funny and I definitely enjoy it in a making fun of sort of way. But where does the line sort of end? When do I stop making fun of it and become an actual fan?" And the truth is, you never actually do. Even fans aren't fans. We just find the drama so fantasizing because what kind of family actually has so much drama going on in their lives 24/7? It's just not healthy. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming at number 8, we have Lili Reinhart. Lili Reinhart spoke out against Kim after the Skims owner admitted to undergoing a restrictive diet to fit into a vintage Marilyn Monroe gown for the 2022 Met Gala, after Kim boasted about her losing 16 pounds to fit into the iconic gown worn by Marilyn during the John F. Kennedy's birthday party. She was able to lose the weight in 3 weeks. Lili would then take to her Instagram story to call Kim out by saying, "To walk a red carpet and do an interview saying how starving you are because you haven't eaten carbs in the last month, all to fit in an effing dress, so wrong, so effed on hundreds of levels. To openly admit to starving yourself for the sake of the Met Gala, when you know very well that millions of young men and women are looking up to you and listening to your every word. The ignorance is otherworldly and disgusting. Please stop supporting these stupid, harmful celebrities whose entire image revolves around their bodies." Lili then noted, "I'm generally not an angry person, but I swear to God the toxicity of this industry sometimes really gets to me, and I have to head to my Instagram story to rant, to release my rage." Number 7, Michael Bublé. When Michael Bublé was performing his iHeartRadio live concert in 2011, he made his feelings about Kim Kardashian crystal clear when he said, "Ladies and gentlemen, I have a very special guest. Please welcome Kim Kardashian." But after a short pause, Bublé then shot back, "Nah, I'm just effing with you. That B ain't coming on my stage," before transitioning into his cover of Nina Simone's classic Feeling Good, which he said was dedicated to Chris Humphries. Later he would explain that he hated Kim because she hurt Chris and he wished that she hurt him instead. Michael's diss wouldn't be the only backlash Kim would experience after she filed divorce from Chris after only being married to him for 72 days. The reality TV star even had to enlist in a celebrity lawyer, Marty Singer, to fight back against Jonathan Jackson, who claims that she staged her wedding, among other things. Number 6, Daniel Craig. It's no lie that the Kardashian family has made millions from living their lives in the public eye thanks to their reality TV show. But one person who is less than impressed by the Kardashian family is Daniel Craig, who launched an astonishing, foul-mouthed rant about the family in an interview with GQ magazine back in 2011. The James Bond star even labeled the clan as effing idiots and criticized those who sell themselves and then make demands about their private life, when he said, "I think there's a lot to be said for keeping your own counsel. It's not about being afraid to go public about your emotions or about who you are and what you stand for, but to sell it off, it's gone. You can't buy it back. You can't buy back your privacy. Oh, I want to be alone? F you. We've been in your living room. We were at your birth. You filmed it for us and showed us the placenta, and now you want some privacy." Referring to the Kardashians, Daniel would then also note that while the clan is worth worth millions. He doesn't think they were badly off to start in the beginning because of their looks. And then he would go on to say, you see that? And you think what? You mean all I have to do is behave like an effing idiot on television and then you'll pay me millions? I'm not judging it. Well, I am obviously. So the moral of the story is, if you want to be famous one day, maybe take some notes. Number 5, we have Rebel Wilson. In 2015, Rebel Wilson would slam the Kardashian family's meteoric rise to fame in a candid live interview. In the interview, the Pitch Perfect actress said she was frustrated that she had to work so much harder to get to where she is and where she wanted to be by saying, "It's not that I hate any of them individually, but it's just that everything they stand for is against everything I stand for, and they're not famous for talent. I worked really hard to get to where I've gotten to." Rebel didn't even want to be on the stage with the family's 2 youngest siblings at the 2015 MTV Music Video Awards when she said, "I got asked to present with Kendall and Kylie at the latest VMAs, but I said no, I'd rather do it myself." She then went on to compare Kim Kardashian to her own acting experience by saying, "They aren't really about talent. I mean, how Kim got famous was from an X tape, and I went to acting school and worked really hard." Number 4, Reese Witherspoon. In 2011, America's sweetheart Reese Witherspoon was really ready to talk some trash when she went on a rant against certain breed of celebrities when she was at the MTV Movie Awards. When accepting a Generation Award from Robert Pattinson, the actress railed at the celebrities in vain of the Kardashians and Paris Hilton and other celebrities when she said, "I get it, girls, that it's cool to be a bad girl, but it's possible to make it in Hollywood without doing reality shows." While a dig was definitely made towards Kim Kardashian and Paris Hilton specifically, Reese would also go on to say, "When I came up in business, if you made an X tape, you were embarrassed and you hid it under your bed." Reese would then go on to say another Hollywood trend she is tired of seeing is the leaking of celebrity nudes photos, and she would even caution those who end up taking them to cover their face so they didn't become the next Kim Kardashian. Number 3, Jon Hamm. Jon Hamm and Kim Kardashian's feud all began when Jon sat down for an interview and said, "Whether it's Paris Hilton or Kim Kardashian or whoever, stupid is certainly celebrated. Being an exploitive idiot is a valuable commodity in this culture because you rewarded it significantly." The quote found its way back to the Kardashians, who responded by saying she respected Hamm and his right to have an opinion, but we're all working really hard and we all have to respect one another. Calling someone out who ruins their own business is part of a successful TV show. Producers, writes, designs, and creates. Stupid is in my opinion. Jon would then come out to clarify that he didn't mean to personally offend Kim Kardashian. He's just not a really big fan of the culture she represents. When he said, "It's surprising to me that it has become remotely a story. I don't know Miss Kardashian. I know her public persona. What I said was meant to be more of a persuasiveness of something in our culture, not personal, but she took offense to it, and that's her right. My quote was simply about the version of television and the version of American culture being celebrated, and it's not something that I particularly enjoy." Number 2, Joel McHale. Back in 2018, Joel McHale would land a new weekly show on Netflix 3 years after E! Pulled the plug on his pop culture show, The Soup. After he made a slew of jokes, Kris Jenner wasn't happy about it. Joel, who dished the dirt on E! From 2004 to 2015, told Variety that his streaming series will in some way be similar with its use of clips from television shows among the pity commentary. Reflecting on his years on The Soup, he would also speak about how one of the network's own shows, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, eventually became a no-go area for him, and he would say when Kris Jenner would complain about our jokes, and then later the president of E! Networks would simply ask McHale to lay off the Jenner and Kardashian family for a week, and then the administration and the president told him to his face, "Don't make fun of the Kardashian family. We don't want you to make fun of the Kardashians." Joel then went on to say that the network really wasn't happy when The Soup started to make fun of Kim, as they always joked about how Kim was only famous for having a big peach and the infamous tape, but I mean, they aren't really wrong. Number 1, Jeremy Renner. Back in 2012, Jeremy Renner would join the growing list of celebrities who have expressed an extreme distaste for the Kardashians. In a recent interview with the UK paper The Guardian, the actor would even claim that he never wanted to be famous, and while discussing the pitfalls of fame, he would unleash his disdain for the reality TV family. When the Kardashians' name was mentioned in the interview, Renner would reportedly roll his eyes and then call them ridiculous people with zero talent, who spend their lives making sure everyone everyone knows their names. He would then add, they are stupid, stupid people. Which makes it definitely safe to say you'll never catch Jeremy spending his weekend binging on episodes of this famous reality TV family show. However, whether you like them or hate them, it seems like if you want to get your foot into Hollywood, you have to get on this family's good side, so you might just want to be careful when it comes to making comments about them, because you never know who might be watching.
In at number 10, Blac Chyna. Blac Chyna's 2017 lawsuit against the Kardashian family will finally be taking place after years of stalling. In her $100 million suit, Chyna accused the family of prematurely ending her reality show, Rob and Chyna, and damaging her reputation by claims they made in the media. The planned 10-day trial comes years after the initial filing, and names Kim Kardashian, Khloe Kardashian, Kris Jenner, Rob Kardashian, and Kylie Jenner as being responsible for the demise of the show. Chyna also lists Ryan Seacrest and other producers on the witness list. Chyna claims that Rob and his family wanted to destroy her and her reputation after the breakup. Chyna states that the couple was in the process of filming season 2 of the show, but it was abruptly halted. The Kardashians claim the show ended because Rob and Chyna split, and because Chyna was physically harmful to Rob during their relationship. In at number 9, Kim Kardashian. In May of 2021, it was leaked that Kim Kardashian was being sued by her staff for unpaid wages. And the more you learn, the crazier the claims seem. 7 members of her staff are suing Kim for not providing the workers with meal breaks and failing to cover any expenses incurred on the job. The employees claim that when they were hired, they were told they would be considered full-time employees. But after they started working, they were labeled independent contractors and treated as such. This meant the staff were not given any benefits of full-time employment. Kim is also being sued for, quote, failure to pay overtime wages and for unfair and unlawful business practices. Although Kim's reps claim it's not her fault, as she hired a third-party vendor to handle the maintenance on her property, and they should be suing this vendor, not her. In at number 8, Kendall Jenner. Kendall Jenner has gotten a lot of backlash because of her tequila company 818, and now some of this backlash has turned into a lawsuit. 818 is being sued by competitor brand Tequila 512 for allegedly ripping off 512's branding. 512 claims in their lawsuit that it's a cheap trick for 818 to copy its shtick by using an area code as its name. 818 is named after the San Fernando Valley, and 512 is Austin. 512 also claims the design and color scheme of the bottles was intentionally made similar to confuse customers. There's even a strange twist in this suit that involves Kim Kardashian. In Kim's mobile app, Kim Kardashian Hollywood, there's an emoji designed for Kendall's 818 tequila brand. But this emoji looks exactly like the 512 brand. Whether the mistake was intentional or not, it gives way to the theory that people easily confuse the two brands. And at number 7, Tristan Thompson. So we all know that Tristan Thompson cheats on Khloe Kardashian a lot. So much so that when any woman comes forward claiming that she hooked up with Tristan, the media generally believes her. However, when Kimberly Alexander accused Tristan of cheating and fathering her child, he took her to court for libel, claiming that was a lie. In the end, the test results determined that it was a lie, and Tristan was awarded $50,000 in damages. She will also have to pay close to $3,000 in court costs. Plus, she will be forced to pay 10% interest until the full amount is paid off. Tristan was seeking $100,000 in damages at the start of the trial, claiming the false allegations he fathered her child hurt his reputation and cost him endorsement deals because companies saw him as a brand hazard. The judge halved the damages because Tristan didn't specifically lay out which endorsements he lost due to Alexander's allegations. And at number 6, Kris Jenner. In 2020, Kris Jenner was hit with an insane lawsuit that claimed that she was inappropriate with a security guard that was hired to watch over her and her family. Courtney was also involved in this suit, and the bodyguard, Mark McWilliams, claims that both women were inappropriate with him. McWilliams claimed that after being hired in 2017, he became subject to a, quote, pattern of unwanted and unwelcome sexual advances and other harassing misconduct from Kris. Also claiming she made suggestive comments towards him about his appearance and asked him private details of his life. He also claimed that Kris massaged his neck, shoulders, arms, and back without his consent, among other physical contact. Kris's lawyer, Marty Singer, tells TMZ, quote, Kris categorically denies ever behaving inappropriately toward Mark McWilliams. The security guard worked outside the house and he never even went into Kris's home. The Kardashian lawyers claim that McWilliams is a disgruntled employee who was fired after being caught sleeping on the job. Halfway at number 5, Kylie Jenner. Kylie and her beauty brand were dragged into court after she was sued by Seed Beauty, the company that helped her formulate her Kylie Cosmetics products. The lawsuit came about after Kylie sold a majority stake in her company for $600 million to Coty. Seed Beauty believes that the new Coty deal is opening the door for Coty to steal Seed's formulations for themselves. In the documents obtained by TMZ, Seed says they've been providing their valuable recipe to makeup success to Kylie for years now, and with this new deal, their formulations are at risk of being distributed to Coty, their competition. Sources say the lawsuit is a little ridiculous since the Kardashians are most likely not successful because of their products rather their insane social media presence. In at number 4, Kylie Jenner. Another lawsuit involving Kylie Jenner is actually on behalf of her daughter, Stormi Webster. Kylie went forward with the suit after a company called Business Moves Consulting filed to trademark, quote, Stormi Couture a month after Kylie and Travis Scott welcomed their baby, Stormi Webster, seemingly trying to take advantage of her name, which is incredibly unique. Kylie also filed her own trademarks for Stormi, including one for Stormi World. But after doing so, she was hit with a lawsuit from the same company, Business Moves, because they claimed that they filed the trademark first for Stormi Couture, and people would be confused. Jenner's asking the trademark office to cancel the other company's trademark because it seems like they only got the trademark to capitalize off of her daughter's name. Kylie says Stormi has, quote, achieved fame in her own right, and points out that her Stormi World birthday parties have been covered by major media outlets like Vogue. As of now, it doesn't seem like there's been any updates on the case. In at number 3, Kanye West. Kanye West was caught up in a lawsuit when a former associate of his was sued for forging Ye's signature. West's former friend and good music associate, Malik Yusuf, was sued by company Gentle Monster for claiming that Kanye West would create a promotional video for this company. Yusuf allegedly scammed the company out of $2.5 million. The company says that Yusuf even set up a meeting between Kanye and a rep for the brand, making it seem like Ye was on board for the whole thing. Kanye allegedly had no clue there was any type of business deal in place. Kanye was also not the only celebrity in this scheme. He also claimed Pharrell, Jaden Smith, and others would help out with this project. Apparently, the scam was an elaborate 9-month plan that included forged signatures and fake invoices to make the documents seem legit. In at number 2, Kim Kardashian. App developer David Levinson is suing Kim Kardashian for $100 million over her very successful Kimoji app. The developer claims that he and Kim made a joint deal to work on the project together, but she left him high and dry. The plaintiff claims that he and his business partners created an app called Censor Out that caught the attention of Kim, and after she got in touch, they decided to partner on Kimojis. In the legal documents, Kim agreed to give him and his team 60% of the project. But right around when Kim filed for the trademark, she decided to back out of their deal. He's suing Kim for at least $100 million for breach of contract, fraud, and for the profits he believes he's lost out of by being left out of this Kimoji partnership. And finally, number 1, Kanye West. Kanye West's clothing company, Yeezy Apparel, was sued by Jordan Outdoor Enterprises after the company believed that Ye ripped off their design. Specifically, the company believes that Kanye copied their camo hoodie, camo thigh-high boots, cargo pants, hooded bomber jackets, shirts, and boots. The lawsuit claims that Jordan has distinctive markings on its Realtree line, and Kanye's companies ripped them off. To make things even shadier, the suit alleges that a rep from Yeezy contacted Jordan about using his camo patterns. But when Jordan said that Yeezy had to license these items, Kanye's reps all of a sudden stopped responding. Then, surprise surprise, Yeezy comes out with very similar camo patterns. Jordan Outdoor Enterprises is suing for damages, but also wants to stop Yeezy from selling the products in the future and to turn over any unsold inventory. In a statement, Kanye's camp said, quote, "There's nothing original or protectable about the Jordan outdoor gear in question. It's unclear if this lawsuit has been resolved."